All right, so we are back, and Deji is back in the influencer boxing scene. He doesn't have an opponent because apparently his opponent pulled out for the Qatar Supercard, but I am more concerned with Deji's why. Why is he back in influencer boxing, and what is he accomplishing? What is he trying to do? What actually happens when Deji steps in? Who's it going to be? All questions I have, and I don't want to seem cynical. It's just something doesn't feel right. I'm excited to have Deji back. I want him back, but what is the why? The answer to that is more important than you think. I'll explain the breakdown. Let's go. As we saw a couple days ago, and by the way, yes, we're on a massive influencer boxing kick right now. I feel good about it. I'm enjoying the scene again, so I'm diving into things left and right here. And Deji is back, and he's one of the bigger names in this scene, so I wanted to talk about him. And you guys know that Deji has had a flirtatious relationship on and off with influencer boxing and also his own potential in it. Maybe that's the most important thing, Deji versus his potential. And of course, it seemed like a little bit of a rocky start. You lose to Jake Paul, you lose to Vinny Hacker, you lose to Alex Wasabi, and then Floyd Mayweather's Floyd Mayweather. But Deji has, at least to that point, was failing upward. He was getting better as he was losing. I have no problems with that. He was challenging himself. But then we get the Fousey fight. And for what it was, to be fair, that was Deji's coming out party. I think it's one of the most viewed fights on Misfits promotion in total. But from that point, you wanted to see Deji improve and move on. And what he did next was fight Swarms. After Swarms had beaten Ryan Taylor, okay. I would say at that point, his skill was on display to a degree that I think he should move up in competition, or at least have a why for what he's continuing to do, because let's be honest, Deji, a lot like KSI, doesn't have to box. He doesn't have to do influencer boxing, but unlike KSI, there is no real goal for Deji, at least not one that I know. And today we're going to try to take a look and see what that goal is and where he wants to be, because apparently he had an opponent. He's not saying who it was that he was supposed to fight on the Qatar card, but that's done. So who is the opponent he's going to fight? Let's take a look. Let's figure out what Deji's doing. And also the big question I think everyone always has when Deji fights is, how seriously is he going to take it? Is he in the right mind state to keep himself in good shape? Is this the Deji of old or the Deji of new? He's taking a lot of time off. Let's see if we can find it. All right, so this is from the Extra Series, London's press conference, right? This is like the embedded for Misfits. This is a terrifying picture of Slim, but we move on. That's even more terrifying. He looks like one of the zombies from I Am Legend with hair. Jesus.
More, you need to be on it every day.
That was what I came here for. Very small interaction. Let's run it back.
More, you need to be on it every day.
Tomorrow, you need to be on it every day. So I don't like hearing that. As a fan of Deji's, as someone that wants to support him, as someone, again, that sees the potential that I think a lot of people do see for him to, if he wants to really be in the scene, if he really wants to challenge himself, which I don't know that he does. I don't know that he knows. I think he's still trying to figure that out. That is not what you want to hear. Again, it's October 17th, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks away from the card. Plenty of time for Deji to get in shape. Plenty of time for him to, formulate a strategy and fight an opponent. But the fact that now is where we hit the go switch, it makes you wonder when Deji says stuff like he's been training, he's been in and out of the gym, how much he really has been doing that, because fair play to Daly, he's always been the one that sets him on the right track. I hope that that's the case, that Deji has been in and out, and now they're just going to be hitting it hard. Because again, 6 weeks, far and away enough time for Deji to get in shape. It's just, I don't want to see him fall into the old habit. I don't think he will. I think Daly is got his attention, is respect enough to not let him do that, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's still with Leon or if he's not, as far as the strength and conditioning goes, but I want to see the best Deji we've ever seen. That's really, that's what I want to see, because it's potential. It's, okay, this is what he could be, We still haven't seen him give that performance that I think he's capable of, if that makes sense. And again, that's meant as a compliment. I think there's so much more Deji has. I just want to see it. I want to see the full 100%, not the, I could have done more if I trained harder, not the, I wish I would have started training earlier, not that. I want to see the 100% best Deji. I think, at least internally, the thing he keeps talking about that he's looking for, and we'll go to the clip here in a second, is him trying to find his best.
Just so we can get your shoulders, and that's all it's going to be. So see if you See if you look.
Is this nigga gonna be here though?
No, you can kick him out if you want.
Get out, bro.
Deji's like nervous to take his shirt off in front of people. I know this is a thing where, you know, Deji did the six-pack challenge or whatever, and, you know, he didn't win, whatever it was. I don't know if he's still trying to tease, like, oh, I'm going to be in best shape. I don't care if Deji has a six-pack. I don't care if he's an eight-pack. I don't care if he has a no-pack. But he is very self-conscious about having his shirt off around people, huh? It's a little frustrating because you know that camera, the Extra Series camera, just wants to get that shirtless pic of him. He knows it, too. Look at him.
This one, yes. And then we'll sort of.
Go away, bro.
That's crazy.
I'll play.
So.
He left the shirt on. He did not do any of that stuff with the shirt off. Let's go. I guarantee you, I said this in the other one, I guarantee you they just got him out of bed to come do this. Look at his eyes. This man's half asleep, bro. Come on, Dad. It looks like he's very casual with the process right now. I want to see a bigger intensity, not outwardly, because I know Deji's not one of those guys that like is super emotional or talks that crazy shit, but I just want to see something different this time. With that being said, then we come to this, and this is one of the more disappointing things around this fight for Deji. If this is something that ends up materializing, I hope it doesn't, please no. But I think Deji needs to take on stiffer competition. Pause. And I'm looking at this title from a Misfits video, and again, I'm not going to judge the video just off the title, but it says, quote, Danny Aaron's wouldn't last a round. I really, really hope they're not trying to set up a Deji versus Danny Aaron's fight, because that is nonsensical. Deji is far better, far more experienced. It's no offense to Danny. It's just the reality of the situation. Deji is better right now. Do not do this. This is silly. But let's watch the video.
Welcome back to Misfits.
No, thank you for having me.
How you feeling?
I feel good, tired, but yeah.
I told you. They just woke this dude up, man.
Why are we fighting again?
I don't need to. It's more like, I'll be honest. So when I was doing the six-pack challenge, you know, to get a six-pack, my brother and all of that.
Yeah.
So I was like training, doing all of that, and then I kind of had the thought of, I feel fit as hell. Why don't I just box? Why don't I like box again? See if I like it still. So that's the, in all honesty, that's the truth.
Now again, I tend to sometimes read a little too much into things, so I'm gonna try to hold back here, but when you're asking yourself if you still like doing this, I'm not saying that's the end of it and you should stop. No, it's a valid question to ask yourself. It's sometimes you need a little bit more motivation and sometimes there's a lack thereof. But in those times, the discipline is what takes over. And we've known that Deji struggles with discipline when there's no motivation, physically. Again, everybody asks it, everybody goes through it, but you better have that answer. Like, Deji better have that answer, and it better be yes if he's taking a fight.
So far, do you still have love for the sport?
Yeah, of course. I'm loving all of this. Apart the press is long, but I mean, I'm loving all of this. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
You talk about wanting to see if you still have the love for it. See if you still have the bug. Is that the is that maybe the fulfillment you're looking for? Is the highlight reel, be it Swarms or anybody else, you get that alcohol?
I think so. I think that's what I want.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Great question, Chris. That is what Deji wants. He wants to go out with a bang. The Fuzi fight, honestly, for that reason, probably would have been the best time for Deji to be like, okay, cool. I got what I wanted and I'm done, right? I get my first official win, whatever. But he wants that legitimacy to have that flat out knockout against someone. I would argue it means more if it's against someone of the same skill level. Please don't be Danny Aaron's.
Do you have a list of names who you'd like in your own mind?
Bryce Hall.
Yeah.
Joe Weller. Maybe add a little bit Danny Aaron's, why not?
No, dude. 3 people right there. Let's talk about it. Number 1, Bryce Hall. Sure. Give me that fight right now. I know Bryce has talked about it. I know Deji's talked about it. The big sticking point is the fact that Bryce is with bare knuckle and he'll want a lot of money. I know this. I know Bryce. He knows what he's worth. I get that. So honestly, that probably is not going to happen. I hope that it does. I wish that it did. I don't know that right now would make a ton of sense because also Bryce is jack. Last time I talked to him, he was like 190 pounds. They're not fighting above 170, so how's that going to work? Maybe max 175. Don't know how that's going to work. Joe Weller, I think Deji's far better than he is, so whatever. But, you know, I guess storyline-wise, you know, he fought JJ, whatever, and there was the thing of Misfits 1 where Joe wanted to fight him. That would have been the time to do it. Maybe not now, so I'm not even sold on that fight. But Danny Aaron's, he just started. He just started like 10 months ago. I don't care that he had his first fight in whatever against a guy that also never had a fight. You can't do this. You can't give Deji just food on a platter, because of course he's gonna eat, but what do we learn? What does he learn? Again, he's here for the highlight knockout, but if you get a highlight knockout versus Danny Aaron, it's like getting the highlight knockout versus, I don't know, somebody else that's just starting. You don't really learn a ton about yourself. And again, I don't mean any disrespect to Danny at all by this, because Danny doesn't have the same experience. He doesn't have the time that Deji has put into this game yet. With the same amount of time put in, we can have that conversation. But the person that Deji needs to be fighting, there's no ifs or ands or buts about it. It's so simple. It makes the most sense. It should be happening. Just sign it, get it together. Is Alex Wasabi the rematch? How has this not happened yet? Alex is available. Deji is available and needs an opponent. And Alex is on Twitter calling for it. He said this. My man Pra, shout out Pra, man. OG in the scene. Why is Deji not rematching Alex Wasabi on the Qatar Supercard? I agree. Alex said, clearing some things up. Number one, quote, Alex pulled out of the Qatar card. No, I wasn't his opponent. So Alex was not the person that pulled out, for those people, I guess, that are assuming that. Two, Alex must have backed out because Deji only called out Bryce and Joe. AKA Deji needs a warm-up before the rematch. Again, this is not a name that Deji has said out of his mouth. At least not that I've heard, and maybe there's somewhere out there that he said it in another interview, but he has said Bryce, Joe, and now he says Danny Aaron's no. And again, there's history here. Alex won the first fight. Do we not remember that? Deji should want to get that get back. How is it Alex that's calling for the rematch, and he won? And he's talking a little bit spicy to Deji, like, okay, yeah, I guess he needs a rematch. Number three, Deji versus Wasabi is the most anticipated rematch fight in influencer boxing space. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, outside of like Jake, Tommy Fury, KSI, Tommy Fury, you know, those kind of things, those rematches. Outside of that, run it. It literally makes no sense as to why they can't get this done. I highly doubt that Alex is going to price himself out of this. But this is the test. This is, like, I know Deji is saying he's coming back because he wants to get that highlight reel knockout, but if you're really coming back to put some sort of staple on your influencer boxing career, even if you want to say, oh, well, he might lose. Yeah, that's the point. These are the fights that we got into influencer boxing for. KSI could have lost to Logan Paul. KSI could have lost to Joe Weller. KSI could have lost to Logan Paul the second time, but he didn't. Logan could have lost to KSI the second time, and he did. And it didn't kill his career. But the amount of risk to reward is why you watch this scene. I don't understand how this is not the fight. I hope it is. I hope they're just pulling our leg. I hope this is like the thing that's going to be announced. I really, really hope that. Here's a video of Deji, though, talking about it on Seconds Out. Apparently, he gets asked the question.
But first of all, Alex Wasabi, the rematch with him, that's something you want?
Of course, yeah, 100%. That's like a wrong that I want to right.
Let's do it. 6 weeks. There's nothing in my mind that tells me that they can't do this. What would be holding anything back at this point? I don't want to hear that Deji's not ready, because I think he is. I think that he's had far and away enough time to have gotten ready. Alex has taken the same amount of time outside of the tag team thing. It's time. This is the fight. And if not for this fight, and again, I just don't think the Bryce Hall fight is very realistic. I don't know if I want to see Deji fighting anybody else right now. Straight up. Like, okay, I'll watch it because it's Deji, but does it get me excited like that fight does? No. You guys remember Showstar, man? Do you remember the hype? Even Deji off of the Vinny loss. The hype that went into that, the amount of eyeballs on that fight, the what has Deji done to improve factor in there. And then obviously he doesn't get it done, but he looked a little better. And then we get Deji going on a bit of a run, right? Okay, the Floyd Mayweather loss, but Floyd's never lost. You beat Fuzi, you beat Swarms, you get some confidence back under your belt. You're talking about having this brash knockout. It is the time. And then you see something like this on Twitter. And I love Daddy. He knows this. He's got balls the size of watermelons. But come on, dude. No, we're not doing it. And he's not ready. And Deji has a perfect built-in opponent. My message to Deji. Deji, you know I love you. You know I love that laugh, that just bubbly energy that you have anytime I'm around you. But I'm going to ask you a question that I know you've been asking yourself, and that is, again, why are you boxing? If it's just for a highlight reel knockout, then sure. For the right money and everything else, that's fine. But if this truly is the sport you love, and you do want to challenge yourself, and you do want to have a game plan, and you do need that extra motivation to stay disciplined, to be in camp, finding your reason to finally make one more run in this scene, it's got to be Alex Wasabi rematch. Because I think you can win that fight. I think that Alex can win that fight. And the problem is, no matter what, if we don't get that rematch, you, Deji, I know you will always sit in your head and say, what if we would have made that rematch? You gotta do it. My man, I'm asking you. I'm begging you guys. This would be you want to talk about a super card for Qatar? This would make it that. He says he wants it. You say you want it. There's nothing else that needs to be said. Both of you sign that contract, and Deji, challenge yourself. The rematch to settle it all. I think it needs to happen, but you guys let me know because right now, I just feel like Deji is too nonchalant for a fight in 6 weeks. I know he can pick it up, and I know the energy will be there when there's an opponent announced, but again, I do think it needs to be the right opponent. Danny Aaron's is not that guy. Joe Weller, yeah, it'll be, again, a big fight, big name, whatever, but Deji's too experienced. Bryce Hall, I just don't see as a reality. If Alex Wasabi's name comes across that list, that's the thing that keeps him disciplined. That's the thing that will make him work harder than he ever has. I can almost guarantee it. But who is Deji going to fight on the Qatar card? I don't have those answers, but hopefully very soon, I guess we'll find out.